Welcome back to part 2 of Class 10 Civics, Chapter 5, Popular Struggles and Movements. In this video, we shall discuss the pressure groups and movements in detail and see how they affect the working of a democracy. So let's begin. So pressure groups or interest groups are organizations that attempt to influence government policies, but they don't aim to directly control or share political power. They only aim to influence the government policies by putting pressure on the government. They are formed when people with common occupation, interests, aspirations, or opinions come together to achieve a common objective. Now let us discuss the types of pressure groups. So there are two types of pressure groups: sectional interest groups and public interest groups. So the sectional interest groups promote the interests of a particular section or group of the society. The principal concern of these sectional interest groups is betterment and well-being of their own members and not the society as a whole. For example, trade unions, business associations, and professional bodies of lawyers, teachers, and doctors, all of these come under sectional interest groups. Second, public interest groups, also known as promotional groups. So they represent some common or general interest of the whole society, and they aim to help the whole society rather than their own members. For example, FEDECOR, which was in Bolivia, and second, BAMCEF. So its full form is Backward and Minorities Communities Employees Federation. It is made up of the government employees that campaign against caste discrimination. So it is made up of the people who think that caste discrimination is not right and they want to change it. Now let us discuss about the movements. So movements like the pressure groups, they are also indirect means of participating in politics rather than direct participation in the form of elections. So there are two types of movements: issue-specific movements and generic or general movements. First, issue-specific movements. So these movements seek to achieve a single objective and they are short-term. For example, the Nepalese movement for democracy in 2006, which we studied in the first video, and second, the Narmada Bachao Andolan, which was started with a specific issue of the people displaced by the creation of Sardar Sarovar Dam on the Narmada River. Second, general or generic movements. So they seek to achieve a broad goal and they are long term. For example, the women's movement, the environmental movement, which includes a large number of organizations with independent leadership and different views. Thus, it is classified as a general movement. And the third example is the National Alliance for People's Movement, or the NAPM. So this is an organization of organizations. So it has many smaller organizations and it acts as an umbrella organization. So now the question which arises in our mind is that how do these pressure groups and movements influence the policies? So they do this in many ways, such as they try to gain public support for their goals by information campaigns, by organizing meetings, by filing petitions, and by influencing the media to give them more attention. Second, by organizing protests in the form of strikes and disrupting government programs. Third, business groups often hire professional lobbyists and sponsor expensive advertisements. Fourth, is a relationship between pressure group and political parties. Now let us see how the political parties and the pressure groups are related to each other. So either the pressure group is formed or led by the leaders of political parties, or the pressure groups act as extended arms of the political parties. For example, most of the trade unions and student organizations are affiliated to the political parties. Second, political parties grow out of movements. For example, the Assam movement led to the formation of Assam Gana Parishad Party. And similarly, DMK and AIADMK parties were formed in Tamil Nadu after the social reform movement in the 1930s and 1940s. Third, in most cases, the relationship between parties and pressure groups is not direct. They oppose each other, but they also try to negotiate with each other. So now, let us conclude this chapter by listing all the negative points and positive points of the pressure groups. So the negative points of pressure groups is that they weaken the basic structure of democracy. They create political instability and they are not accountable to the public. They also sometimes pressure groups with small public support but lot of money hijack the public discussion. So if some pressure group has a very small issue but it has a lot of money, then it can get its issue to the front. And the positive points of pressure groups are that they remind the government of the needs and concerns of citizens and lead to betterment of the society. So with this, we come to the end of this chapter. I hope you liked it. Thank you.